everything I've seen about Dragon Age Veilguard, it's just trash. I mean, some people seem to like it, but it doesn't appear very many do. They haven't done very well with the amount of players playing the game if you're going off of Steam DB. It looks like after 10 years of development time, the game is not going to come anywhere close to recouping its money. So at this point, it looks like, honestly, it's going to be a failure. So I saw this video over on YouTube by Rex Sterling TV. The lack of nuance is killing game discourse. I think you guys might be interested in his take here, and I wanted to react to it and give my thoughts. And yeah, let's go ahead and get into it.
I'm sitting down for a different kind of video today where we're going in raw. It's just going to be me talking to you because I'm really frustrated about where we are in gaming and particularly gaming discourse. And I'm frustrated at how difficult it's become to just talk about video game. Something that I'm really passionate about and something that I know a lot of you are really passionate about. And I enjoy talking about my passion. And I'm sure most of you do too. And there's a lot of bullshit that's happening with video games right now. There's a lot of activists getting into the industry.
Yep.
And I think the reason for that is because the industry is it's so popular.
Yep.
And with that,
we see this with anime and manga as well, because it's so popular. A lot of these activists are just weeding their way into it. And then they act all offended when they see some of the stuff that's in anime and manga, and then they want to change it. They've done this shit with so many different things, and they're going to continue to do this. If something's popular, they're going to get into it. They're going to get offended, and they're going to want to try to change it. And all they do is they piss the people off who are already in the gaming community. Just look at Warhammer 40K, Magic the Gathering. I mean, I could go on. It's happening left and right now.
Popularity comes attention, and with that attention comes power
yep,
and opportunity for propaganda and to, you know, spread your message and all this other bullshit. You know what I'm talking about, and I know what I'm talking about. And so you've seen a lot of people, a lot of us, stand up and call it out.
Yep.
Stand up and say, hey, like, why are you shoving this, like, social activism? Why are you shoving your personal politics? Why are you shoving your morality and your censorship into, like, my video games?
If you do this, you get called a bigot, obviously, or a racist or a homophobe or a transphobe on Twitter. If you're a big enough personality, then you end up getting all these different games journalists writing hit pieces on you, essentially trying to tear you down. And they all do it at the same time. They probably, I don't know if they're all in the same Discord or how they do it, but they all seem to communicate and try to share the same sort of talking points and headlines. It's not a surprise that it seems very much coordinated.
Like, this is what I do to get away from the world. I play video games to get away from stress.
Yes.
And so when you see in your game where you're trying, it's escapism.
Yeah. And
when you escape to the video game just to have somebody say, hey, how do you feel about pronouns?
We talking about pronouns? It reminds me of the Heels versus Babyface Ass, I think his name is, when he went all crazy about pronouns with Starfield.
I love nothing more than to be dragged out at every fucking conceivable opportunity so you can fucking current day us. Sorry, did you want to get immersed in our world? Yeah, well, guess what? Fucking pronouns! Fucking gender ambiguity! Fucking current day Californian shit! Because that's all we fucking know! Because we're boring! We're so fucking boring!
But look, if you don't understand what he's saying, go look at the clips online about Dragon Age and what's been released. That's what he's talking about.
Are you a bigot? When you have that kind of rhetoric and that kind of messaging, and when you have writers and characters in the game that are clearly propped up on soapboxes,
yep,
it ruins the immersion.
And they're self-inserts. It's essentially a therapy session for these people. They are trying to push this because they want to normalize it. Look, I know it's not popular for people to say out loud. We all think it. But these individuals are mentally not well. When it comes to them believing who they think they are, they can't handle it when someone disagrees. When someone pushes back, they flip their fucking lid. I have seen so many clips where they scream that they're being attacked when that's not happening, and they literally go and try to beat the hell out of somebody, all because they used the wrong pronouns, all because they said you're a dude, you can't be a woman, or you're a woman, you can't be a dude.
It ruins the escapism. It takes you right out of the video game and it sits you down
real world,
right into like some Twitter brain rot discourse.
Yeah. And this is especially worse if you're politically active. If you're politically active and you follow this stuff on a daily basis because you care about what happens in your country, this is even worse. This stuff's out there all the time in politics, and it's also leaking into every other piece of culture, and they're trying to normalize this stuff. And so honestly, a lot of times you're just tired of seeing it. You're tired of hearing, like, fucking A, stop inserting this bullshit into every fucking thing
that I think people are getting sick of.
Yep.
I think people are getting sick of it. And I know that I am. And it was one thing years ago when I saw these kind of interactions and this kind of discourse around video games, and it was only online. It was only on like Facebook, or it was only on Twitter back in the day, but you didn't see it in real life. Like you just saw it on the internet and you were like, what's wrong with these people? But now it's gotten to the point where like it's
gotten worse with the younger generation. These people, society has changed so much. I think some of these people just want to belong. They want to be part of something. And for whatever reason, they don't feel like they are. And it varies from person to person. And they will latch onto this. I have a family member that's unfortunately very much like that. And it's really sad because she is the sweetest and greatest thing in the world, honestly, outside of my own kids. I love her to death. And she's gone through so much in school, gone through so much in her own life. And honestly, there are some things that could be improved upon in her life. And I'm not going to go into a lot of detail because if by some reason some people in my family happen to hear this, I don't want to piss them off too much, but she's been let down. She has been let down by her family, and she has latched onto something that unfortunately is not going to want to do what's best for her because she wants to feel like she belongs. She wants that support. And I just hope down the road she is able to free herself of this and become what she was meant to become.
It's in real life. Like half the time when I go to the GameStop in my town and I'm looking at games, if Assassin's Creed Shadows comes up or the new Ghost of Tsushima having a female protagonist, like when this stuff comes up, or like we discuss these games like in a general way, if it comes up for any reason. Now I always find myself in a situation where I'm having to discuss these topics with a person face to face, or it's weaving its. Have
you seen the type of people that work at these GameStops now? I would never go into a GameStop and talk about some of these games with the people that work there. I'm sorry, I wouldn't. Because they can't handle it if you disagree. They will freak the fuck out.
It's way into real conversations where I don't really want it. Like, I'll be honest with you, like I don't mind it, but I grew up with this mentality that like when you go to the bar or when you go out, just in public in general, you leave your politics at home. There's no good that's going to come from dragging your politics.
Generally, that's the way I was raised as well. And it's only because when people disagree with you, there are going to be people who can't handle that, and it can impact you in ways that you wouldn't want that to impact you. And so generally I try to stay away from that stuff. That's the way I was taught. Some people, they don't think you should have to, and I agree, you shouldn't have to. But there are people that can't handle disagreement. So while they are mentally and emotionally weak, you have to be strong enough to know, hey, I'm walking into something potentially that I don't need to walk into. So why should I walk into it? That's my mindset here.
Politics and your activism or whatever into a social setting with a bunch of people that are really just trying to chill out. It I think like pollutes the sense of community that you feel in public with people when that kind of shit gets brought in. So I grew up with that mentality that you just, you check that shit at the door and then you just enjoy your.
I don't want to know somebody's politics. I just want to know them only in the capacity that I need to know them. If they're friends, then cool. Then things might get a little more closer to where we discuss things like that, because then there's a friendship there. But even now, I mean, you've seen stories where friendships, marriages, I mean, they've broken up because of political opinions that the other person in that relationship doesn't agree with. And I don't know, luckily my wife and I were like this when it comes to politics. We never talked about it when we got married. Luckily it just lined up that way.
Time with other people. And I'm just seeing that line being erased, it feels like, more and more in real life. And I see like this stuff coming up, and it's like these battle lines are starting to get drawn in real life. It's not just like brain rot on the internet anymore. It's affecting opportunities. I have people that won't work with me as a YouTuber or a streamer because of opinions that I have about Dragon Age the Veilguard, because of a tweet I liked about some bullshit with The Last of Us Part 2 or something.
The world and Twitter has kind of helped create this environment. Not gonna lie, Facebook, the same, YouTube. It's helped speed this along. And then obviously politics has played a bigger role in this than most people would be willing to admit. It's played a huge role in creating this environment. People will not work with you if they feel like you have a different opinion, because they take it as a personal attack, because it is so virtuous to them. It is so important to them that if you disagree, you're evil. They other the other side, and they have no problem looking at the other side as something that needs to be done away with, because they've created a mindset to where these people are evil. And what do you do to evil? Well, you defeat evil. And that's the mindset that they have.
Something. And I have people that genuinely are just like, it happens every time I put out a video on Dragon Age the Veilguard. And I'm sorry for like being so like,
I'm gonna have to look at his other Dragon Age videos.
I've been feeling this way for a long time, and I've wanted to talk about it for a long time, and I don't have a script, so if I bounce all over the place, I'm sorry, but I'm just so frustrated that we can't just talk about our video games. Every time I put out a video on Dragon Age the Veilguard, I have to deal with this. You know, I'm either not mean enough to the game.
And if Dragon Age fails, they're going to blame the right-wing chuds. That's what they're going to do. They're going to blame racists. They're going to blame men. They're going to blame straight people. They're not going to blame themselves. They never do that.
Or I'm not nice enough to the game. It's like the Super Bowl. It's like sports. It's like a competition, and it's two teams. Pick your side. Are you red or are you blue? Put your jersey on, and then you go to war, and all the nuance and all of like the real conversation that could lead to some sort of resolution gets thrown out the window. And then anybody who tries to bring the gray back into the spectrum of the conversation gets called a cuck, or gets called a fence sitter, or whatever. It's just never enough. You're either never left enough, or you're never right enough. You know, if I say something negative about Dragon Age the Veilguard, even if I'm criticizing a game mechanic, somehow I'm like an alt-right grifter that.
And if you say something positive, you're gonna get called a shield. I mean, that's unfortunately the environment we live in. Just I feel for this dude, because I understand.
It's LGBT, whatever. And then if I praise the game, if I say I see some stuff I really like, maybe it could be good. Like maybe it could overcome some of the things I don't like. Maybe I could end up liking this game. Well, then all of a sudden I'm part of the problem, and I'm supporting the toxic activism in the community that's subverting the quality of the product that we're paying money for. And it's just, I just feel like when I know that I'm not grifting, and I know that I am only making this video or doing this reaction or talking about Dragon Age because I genuinely care about it, and all I want to do is just have a discussion about it, the good, the bad, the things I
And it's so unfortunate. This guy seems to have caught so much shit from his videos. Oh my God. He looks like he's genuinely pissed off about this.
Like, the things I don't like, and then have conversations. That's what I miss about YouTube, man. Maybe I'm wrong, you know, because I wasn't really heavy on YouTube until about like 8 years ago. But I feel like there was a time when somebody would post a video and it would like provoke conversation. And then when you would go into the comments, you would see people having conversations about the topic, and it would be interesting to read. And now that's fucking gone. We're losing it. And I feel like that was a really important part of YouTube. And I feel like
it's because society has become more and more partisan and more divided. It's more tribal, essentially. One side or the other. If one side likes a particular video game, the other side has to hate it. I mean, you've seen this in politics. I hate to bring up Trump, but Trump was, when he first ran in 2016, he was running on a Democrat platform. He was saying things that the Democrats just 4 to 5 years earlier were saying the exact same stuff on some of these positions. Because he was not running as a Democrat at that time, they couldn't run on the same platform. So any position he took, they automatically took the exact opposite. And that's a lot of times what happens in games as well. It's also become very political. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is.
Like we're fucking losing it. I
don't think it's going to change either.
Stevens or Asmongold or anybody post a video about, a video game, anything, the least controversial topic, it doesn't matter. You go down there and it's just the comments are just bots. And then, just the most toxic, it's Twitter now. The YouTube comments are looking more and more like Twitter. It's OnlyFans promotion and bots. And then
now I'm not as big as Asmongold, and I'm not even as big as this guy, but you guys have been great. I mean, I don't think it's been that bad yet, but it'll probably change once you get bigger. If you're somebody like this guy, or especially Asmongold, but I mean, you're going to get haters and people are going to come in. I'll get a comment every now and then, but most of the comments has been very supportive. So good job, guys.
Just the most toxic, brain dead fucking people. And then the worst opinions a lot of the time, not all the time. Maybe I'm overly focusing on the negative, but a lot of the time it's like the most brain dead ass comments get liked or upvoted or whatever the most. And it just makes me feel fucking insane. Now that's probably because normal people, they don't really comment that much on YouTube videos.
That's true.
They might like it. They might give it a like or a dislike. They move on. And then as a creator,
9 times out of 10, I'll like it and I'll move on. I don't necessarily leave a lot of comments unless I'm disagreeing with something. So maybe I'm part of the problem. Who knows?
Get the analytics. I see the retention, and then I can get an idea of what like actual people think. But I don't know, man. I'm frustrated with how hard it is to just have simple conversations. Like, everything is so controversial, even if it's not, even if it's objectively not controversial. You know, like, if you have a character, like, I think there's a line in the new Dragon Age: The Veilguard where the Kunari character is saying, like, you know what, I don't want to be called she anymore, I'm a they now, or whatever. And it's just, it feels so fucking out of place. Now, I haven't played the game.
What Dragon Age is doing is next level, and that's not necessarily a good thing. And I'm hoping that they lose, and I'm only saying this because I don't approve of it, okay? I'm hoping that they lose so much money on this game that they fire these activists and they move forward in the direction that their fans actually want, so that they actually make money. I mean, this video game gave me bad vibes from the very beginning I saw the trailer. I knew it was coming. I was waiting for that shoe to drop, and eventually it did. I was like, yep, I had a feeling.
Yet. I haven't played the game yet. I'm still planning to play the game. I want to see how good or bad it.
I'm not going to play the game. You're a braver man than I am. I will not give that company money. I'm sorry, I won't. I'm not a big enough YouTuber to justify giving them money, and so I can play it on my YouTube channel. Because I'm not going to make any money off of it. So why would I pay them to play a game that I'm probably going to hate? I definitely don't support the message that's in the game. So yeah, hey, more power to you though. I'll watch you play through.
Really is. After covering it, I feel like I got to get my hands on it, and I got to make up my own mind. That's what I want. Now, I've shared my impressions. I'm not holding back or pulling punches with how I feel about what I'm seeing, but I am willing to play the game and then really know. You know what I'm saying? But when I see lines of dialogue, and I'm sure you've seen if you follow Dragon Age: The Veilguard, I'm sure, because there's been like a million fucking videos on it in the past 24 hours. I'm sure you've seen the clip I'm talking about, and I'm looking at it as a fan of the franchise and as a gamer, and I'm looking at it.
And that woman, Tosh or whatever, I hate her design, and in some of these clips she looks like, I don't know, I hate her. I hate maybe it may not be the character, it's just the way they have written her, it's the way the animation is done with her, it's the facial animations and the dialogue and everything. I hate the character, and I haven't even played the damn game, and I hate this character. Don't get me started on the barf or whatever they call it, because honestly, every time I've heard that clip, it makes me want to barf.
And I'm just like, this fucking does not belong. Like, what is this writing?
No,
this is like some weird self-insert shit.
Yes.
To me, that's what it looks like.
It's fan fiction, and it's written at a very low capability level, I guess, or low skill level.
Be wrong, not having the full context. I'm going to try and go and get it. If I can get through the game, I'm going to go get it. But just where I'm sitting right now, I'm looking at it, and I'm like, this shit does not belong in the game.
There's no context where it belongs in the game. I'm sorry, there's not. I don't want the shit in the game. There's nothing you can do to make me feel like, oh, okay, yeah, that belongs. No, shit like that does not belong in a video game. People don't want to hear about current day pronoun and transgender and non-binary bullshit in a video game. I'm sorry. I hope the shit just fails and hits like a ton of bricks and people lose a ton of money over it. I really do. I hope the game is considered a flop, because this shit needs to stop. If this is a success, then it's not good. It's not good.
Why is it here? Like the reason why, and then of course when I point that out, I'm a bigot, or I'm one of them, and all these other weird ass fucking comments that I read. The reason why stuff like this has become such a talking point, you saw it around Concord, you saw it around, what was that game, Dustborn, you see it around Dragon Age: The Veilguard, with like social activism and stuff like that being put in the game. A lot of like gay and trans issues and minority issues, or whatever term, right, is put in the game, and it becomes kind of a focus in the game. The reason why it's such a talking point for people like me, and I think a lot of people, is because more often than not, it seems like when these themes are put into games and explored in games, it comes at the expense of the quality of the game that I'm paying my fucking hard-earned.
Because these people, that's all they care about are these specific topics. Politics has become so invasive in everything now. These people eat it, they sleep it, they drink it, they bathe in it, they walk in it, they ride in it. I mean, whatever other thing you want to say in it, they are, right? That's everything it is to them. And they're so virtuous, they feel like their point is so morally right that they need to put it into everything and get the message out there to these people, to everybody. That's why they can't do a good job at this, because all they are, like I said earlier, is their politics, is their ideology, is their agenda, and that's all they care about pushing out there. There is no way, in my opinion, you can take real world politics and shove it into a game and make it good. Games can have politics. Games can have social messages in the game that's important to the in-game universe. I mean, you see this in Final Fantasy 16. You've seen there's politics in Final Fantasy 14. You've seen this in other video games where politics plays a role. Heck, even Elden Ring had some form of politics because you were trying to become the Elden Lord and take over, right? But it's when you take real world politics that have a negative connotation to at least half of the country. That's the problem. It doesn't matter to me, it doesn't matter how good Dragon Age Veilguard is. It's not, but it doesn't matter how good it could be if that stuff's in it. It could be the best game in the world. And if that stuff's in it, I'm not playing it. And there's a lot of other people out there who think the exact same thing. More and more people are waking up about this. They're pushing back more and more and more. And the more they see you put this in there, I'm sorry, the less they're going to buy your games. You'll eventually get a reputation where they won't touch your stuff. They're so focused on an agenda there that they are losing the ability to tell a story.
Money for. That's the only reason. Like,
sorry for the long rant.
It's only because it seems like there's a direct relation between developers that choose to focus on this and then shitty quality, bad writing, like unintuitive mechanics. It's just like, if you want to explore sexuality and mature themes and, you know, political this and social that, if you want to explore those themes in your game, I don't have a problem with that.
Neither do I, as long as you're okay with it failing. Because I want it to fail. And I'm not buying it, and I hope nobody else does either. But you're free to waste your money. I would rather play a game that tells a good story and I can get immersed in it and not have to feel like I'm getting preached to because of real world political bullshit. So
if you want to have a gay character, you can have the whole cast fucking gay, bro. I don't give a shit. I will still play the game if it's good. If it's good, all I worry about is the quality.
They couldn't do that. It would all be some sort of stereotype, over the top, in your face, ham-fisted crap. And they cannot do it the way Final Fantasy 16 did Dion. And I think that was his name. And I think the only reason they did it that way is because Square Enix didn't really touch it. It was Creative Group or Creative Team 3. It was the people who did 14. They did it. Now, I trust them with a video game more than I trust Square Enix. Because anything outside of Final Fantasy seems to just bomb because Square Enix just doesn't know how to make video games anymore.
That's all I care about. And when I see this stuff in games, I wonder to myself, because I've seen it, there's been so many examples back to back to back to back to back for multiple years now. When I see it, I wonder to myself, did you focus on this so much that you neglected the things that really...
And this is what people don't understand on Twitter, because they're like, as soon as you see a black person, you think it's DEI, or you think it's, you know, woke. Or as soon as you see a woman, you think it's DEI, or you think it's woke. This is the fucking environment you guys have built. You've done this so much that every time we see it now, we can't help but wonder, yeah, I hate that it's like that. I really do. I wish it wasn't. I wish I could just enjoy it, but I can't. You're focusing so much on the race and gender of something that you're taking away from it in other areas, in other ways. And that's the environment you guys created. And I'm sorry that you can't see it because you're either too stupid or you don't want to acknowledge it.
Matter about making the game good. And when you put these themes, these mature themes, they're complex themes. These are complex topics, and you're putting them in your game. If you're going to do that, it has to be done with a certain degree of like reverence for the topic, respect for the topic that you're exploring, a certain amount of talent. You have to have real talent to write about these themes and insert these themes into your game and do it well and do it in a respectful way that doesn't like negatively affect the game. And that, like, one of the biggest issues that I have about it is that it feels like the people that insert this into the game, they assume we're fucking stupid. And
no, it's just they don't care. They're ham-fisted in because this is what they think, this is what they believe. They don't give a fuck whether you're stupid or whether you're smart. As long as it gets into the game and their message gets put out there, that's all they care about. That was my wife. Sorry about that if you heard the phone.
Feel like when they write these characters and when they put this in games and trailers and stuff, they have to get up on a soapbox and like talk down to you. Like, trans people should be treated with respect. Like, they have to fucking scream it in your face because you're too
I treat them with respect. I just don't agree with the way they choose their life. They can live their life however they want. Don't expect me to play along. That's all. That's my viewpoint on it.
Stupid to understand it otherwise. It's not subtle at all. They make no attempt a lot of times to actually fit it into the game, to actually insert it into the game in a way that makes sense and is cohesive and is like good. Like it's like genuinely good. Like Parvati, you look at her in the Outer Worlds. And she was done so well. I think she was an asexual character. She's like one of your party members, and she develops kind of a crush on another girl or whatever, and you're trying to wingman for her. You're giving her advice on how to talk to this other girl that she has a crush on, and you're giving her advice on like how to deal.
I thought Baldur's Gate 3 probably did it as best as I've seen it. I wasn't big on the bear sex thing, don't get me wrong, but you know, when it first came out, I was like, wait a minute, what the fuck? But the game was actually really good, and they did this really well. You could sleep with whoever you want to sleep with. I played a female character, so I slept with all the females. I was a lesbian. I didn't care because I like boobs, right? So when I was in camp, it was naked time, unless you're a guy. If you're a female, you are not allowed to wear clothes in the camp. That went for me as well. So I walked around as a naked female in the game. I played multiple runs. I made sure I got with every female in the game at least once. The sex scenes were nice, but they didn't preach. They didn't go into detail like, oh, I'm finally accepting who I truly. No, they just let you as an individual choose who the fuck you wanted to. Well, fuck. They didn't preach to you. They didn't talk about their feelings and all this other stuff other than say, hey, I love you. That's about the most it got. I mean, hell, I think the deepest, I love the story with Lae'zel, to see her come around from this really aggressive and unapproachable alien, I guess is the word I could call her, to being someone who was very sweet, and she wanted and needed your love. She needed you to be by. I mean, honestly, I think she's my favorite one as far as the relationship, to see her grow. I never finished the game because I started playing with my wife, and then we ran into the bug where her car-like romance got ruined and she couldn't fix it. She opened a ticket with Larry. Yeah, and at that point, I'm just like, it's okay. I never went back to the game, but I played up to halfway through stage 3, I think it was. We went to like the main city and saved like the little slaves and under the water and killed, what's his name? The one of the main guys. We were about to go kill the blood chick or whatever. Can't remember names now. My brain's not working. So I got pretty far. Had sex with the Emperor. Yeah, that was interesting to say the least. But they did it right. I just don't think you can put this stuff in the game to the extent that the Veilguard does and it be good. I think you're going to piss too many people off, and I think your game's going to fail. Especially a game that took 10 years and had at least $150-200 million to develop. Honestly, I hope it crashes and burns.
With like her, being asexual and stuff. And it's just written so well. And she's such a likable character. And she brings more to the table than just like her sexual identity. She's a fleshed out character that's likable and you're rooting for her. And when the romance works out, you like as a player.
And this is what I said about the people making these games. They're nothing more than their sexual identity. It's everything they are. That's all they are.
I was like, hell yeah. Hell yeah. So it's like, I don't mind any of this stuff. Like DEI and, the main character's black or gay or what.
I mind DEI. Not that I don't care if the main character is gay or black, but I do care about DEI. That's completely different from just someone being black or someone being gay. So I hope he understands it. That those are two different things. I really care about DEI. I think DEI is evil. I think it shouldn't exist.
The shit or a woman, I don't care. I was upset about Ghost of Yotai, and then I had to deal with some backlash over that. But it was only because I wasn't ready to say.
I was upset at Ghost of Yotai as well. Not because I was ready, I was or wasn't ready to say goodbye to Jin Saki. I haven't finished playing the first game yet. I just finished Act 1. I took the Castle Canada, I think it was. But my wife didn't like it either. She's like, I'm not ready to say goodbye to Jin Saki. That's what she said. She wanted to continue seeing where the story is. She wanted to play as him. She didn't want to play as this chick. And then when I see who's making the game now versus who made the game then, I'm concerned about the game. The trailer looked good, don't get me wrong, but I am concerned about the game and the stuff that they're going to put into it. I really am. I don't know if lightning will strike twice for them.
About a Jin, I was like, oh fuck, I'm gonna fuck, it just hit me out of nowhere. I thought there was gonna be another story with.
And then, as he said earlier, because of the environment that they put us in, we can't help but wonder why they made the decision to move to this female protagonist. Was it just a naturally occurring decision, or is it for other reasons? And while you'll never know, chances are, if you had to bet money, we know. But we can only speculate, but.
And Sakai, and then we got a new character. It didn't matter that the new character was a woman. It just wasn't Jin. And I was like, oh, fuck. I wasn't ready to say goodbye. I loved Ghost of Tsushima so much. I have such a genuine, love for that game. I just think they did so many things so well in it. And the story was brilliant. And it's like, fuck, But I'm fine with the new game, and I'm excited to play it. But then immediately, the conversation is no longer about how good Ghost of Tsushima was. The conversation is not about how likable and well-written Jin Sakai.
I saw people on Twitter bashing Jin Sakai just so that they could push up this new female character. That's the type of shit we're dealing with. Now, luckily, there were a lot of people who would push back against that. But I mean, that's what these people do. And the moment you questioned why they moved away from Jin Sakai, that's when you started getting the usual, you're a bigot, you're sexist, you just want the patriarchy and, all this stuff. I mean, that's their natural defense. They can't understand that people would actually have questions. And then the voice actress went on a blocking spree and blocked everybody who even asked a question. People who even were defending her, but still wanted to know why. I mean, it was absurd.
Or, curiosities about what this new story is going to be and who this new character is. I'm not seeing any of like this genuine, like really good, interesting conversation that I can interact with on social media or any of this shit. It's just immediately like bigotry, sexism, gamer chuds, and incels mad that they're not getting another male protagonist. It's just the same grifting bullshit. And I'm just so fucking tired of it. And it becomes so difficult for me because these fucking algorithms reward it so much.
That their response, the fact that they respond like that makes me believe that our concerns, our questions, spot on. We're over the target with those. They made these decisions for the reasons we believe they did, and they know it. So they got nothing really to say about it. And so that's the response we get from them. Same thing with like Assassin's Creed Shadows, a country full of Japanese people. You find the one needle in a haystack, the one lone black guy that you can make your story about. In Japan, you've made the decisions you made about other games and the playable characters there, and then your side characters that were just NPCs that would help you along the way. If you'd have stuck to that same formula, there might not have been a lot of drama around Assassin's Creed Shadows, and it might come out to be relatively successful. But you couldn't do that. You had to fall in line and go the DEI route. When you try to virtue signal or you make decisions for some other sake besides just telling a good story, making a good game, which is what a lot of these people do, you step in shit. And when you step in shit, guess what? It stinks. It's just the way it is.
Much. Like, I know if I went like harder, if I leaned into it more with like titles and thumbnails, and I know that if I chose like a harder angle from the left or a harder angle from the right when I discuss these topics, I will be rewarded with like views and subs. And I want that. I want that. I've been making content for 4 years. I'm only at 8,000 subs. Like on my streaming channel. Oh, this is a new channel that I just started, so it's it's still a baby channel at like 500 subs. But I would like growth. I would like views. I would just like the opportunity for my video to be seen, and then people can reject it or accept it, like it, dislike it. I just want to be out there and a part of the conversation. But I don't want to have to do that to get there. But these algorithms
don't compromise don't compromise your principles just to get the views, because eventually that will dry up. Just be you. Let people find you and enjoy you for who you are. Don't compromise yourself.
I feel like, honestly, to a degree, we reward it. And I do think that there's a certain amount of like self-reflection we have to do. This grifting has to fucking go. Like, I don't know if it's even possible to get rid of it, but we have to stop rewarding grifting so much, giving grifters so much fucking attention. Like, I can't tell you how many.
But we're the ones called grifters, though. I think they project that all the time on us.
Times I have seen somebody put out an inflammatory video, just exploiting a topic like the female protagonist with Ghost of Tsushima and Ghost of Yotai, or the stuff with Concord. Like, you can tell. I don't know how easily it is. I don't know how easy it is for other people to tell, but when I look at it, I can tell who's trying to have a genuine conversation about what's going on with the game, why this works, why this doesn't, like, the mistakes that were made, maybe how it could be rectified. I can tell the difference between that and somebody that's, just going up there and making their video to either shit on it blindly and in an incendiary way, just lobbing insults at people that like the game, lobbing insults directly at the director, personal insults at the writer, naming them and shit like this. It's like, you're only making it worse, and you're doing it intentionally for fucking revenue, for ad revenue and growth.
Well, hold on. You shouldn't have to play a game to have an opinion on it. They release trailers, they release interviews, they release a lot about the game. You can see, like with Dragon Age, they have people who play the game beforehand and they release their reviews and stuff. You can find out a whole shit ton of information about games. It could be about TV, movies, anything. They release a lot. So you can make an opinion about what's being released before it even comes out and before you even play it, if you choose to play it. I understand where he's coming from. I just don't think it's as black as white as the way he's kind of coming across it.
And maybe I just don't understand the game. Maybe I'm just not built for this or whatever the fuck, but I am so sick of it. And I just feel like we've got to stop rewarding those motherfuckers. We've got to stop. Like, when we see that behavior, we have to start rejecting grifters and start clicking on videos and support.
But who's to say who a grifter is? That's part of the problem. If you point out a game that is advertised, well, okay, let's take Ghost of Toei, whatever the fucking name is, the sequel to Ghost of Tsushima. Let's take that as an example. Are the people who questioned the decision to use a female protagonist, are those grifters? Are those the ones he's referring to? Are the people who ask questions about why you use this character versus continuing the story of Jin Saki, are those grifters? What about Assassin's Creed Shadows? The people who questioned why they chose to use Yasuke, the one lone black person, instead of choosing a Japanese person. Yeah, they gave us no A, but come on, we know why they did that. Come on. It was just so that, here's your token Japanese person. Go have fun. No. If people question that, are those the grifters? Are those the people he's referring to? Are those the people that are lobbing insults on? I don't have a problem with him naming directors either. I mean, look, if you're involved in the game, you should be proud of it. If you're not proud of it, then don't be involved in the game. If you don't want to get called out for your involvement in the game, then don't be involved in the game. I mean, be proud of your work, whether people like it or not. It's your work. This is the one point where I see where he's coming from, but depending on what level he's at, because it doesn't seem like he's going to go into it, I kind of may disagree with.
Supporting creators that are at least trying to have a real fucking conversation. And I do think that a lot of people feel the same way I do, and a lot of people are starting to express these same sentiments. So I just wanted to make...
And you also can't have a conversation when you're calling people out, because people are going to hate you, the developers are going to hate you, the news organizations that are pushing this message are going to hate you. They're not going to be willing to have conversations with you. So the only people you have conversation with are people who agree with you. So then it's just a bunch of people calling stuff out. So I don't know how much of a conversation you have there.
This video and tell you how I've been feeling and what I've been going through, and I'm sorry that it's like I'm sorry that I've got like this crazy crackhead energy, and I'm sorry that I'm like bouncing all over the place and rambling. I didn't write down any bullet points or anything.
He did a really good job.
I just felt like I had this like
this
elephant sitting on my shoulder just weighing me down, man, and it's stressing me out. And all I want to do is just talk about games, you know, that I love. And the only reason I give attention to negative things, the only reason I give attention to negative things like Concord or fucking, you know, Dragon Age: The Veil Guard, and I'm not perfect. I know that there's definitely been videos I've made.
See, one of the few people that actually bought and played Concord, maybe? If so, why does he put himself through that? I wouldn't have played the game.
Where I leaned into grifting, and then I would watch my video back later. I'd revisit it, or I'd read the comments, and I would think to myself, like, damn, I wish I would have worded that differently. Like, I feel like I hurt my own video by going so hard on that one particular topic, or, you know, I wish I would have discussed it with a little bit more nuance or whatever. Like, there's definitely things that I need to do as a creator to improve, and that's
a borderline there that I also struggle with certain things. Is you don't want to piss people off, but at the same time, you don't want to feel like you got to change the words you say because you're afraid to piss people off. I mean, you want to be naturally who you are, right? And people will accept you or not accept you, and that's the way life is. You don't want to not be yourself. So I can understand that when it comes to making these videos. It's hard to know how hard you should lean into something, how opinionated you should be about certain topics, because certain topics are really spicy.
Working on that, right?
This video has a few of them.
There's just a difference between creators that are going through that process and trying to grow and get better, and creators that are just out here pouring gas on fire because it makes them money, and I'm fucking sick of it. The only reason I can give any attention to like the negative stuff is because it's genuinely affecting our products.
I would have loved to have seen examples of people he thinks is pouring gas on fire. Just so I kind of know where he's drawing that line at.
It's affecting IPs that we love. It's affecting the quality of our games. So it does have to be called out. It should be discussed. I'm not trying to discourage them.
And that's where a lot of these YouTubers are doing. They are calling this stuff out. That's why they catch a lot of flack. They catch a lot of hate for it. That's why they are called grifters by these people at Kotaku and the devs. I mean, look, if you want to insult the opinion, well, if you want to delegitimize the opinion of somebody that you disagree with, doesn't matter which side you're on, you just call them a grifter. That's the go-to insult initially, a grifter. And then you say sexist, racism, you know, homophobic, transphobic, all this other stuff. But grifter's always one of those insults. So the fact that he's using this here, I really wish I had an example so I could better understand where he's coming from.
But I just think there's a line, you know, and maybe it's like a razor's edge, you know, maybe it's really hard to walk that line. I think for me it has been, but we just got to do better, and we got to reward people that do better, and we got to stop rewarding people that are making no effort to have a nuanced conversation about this stuff, because they're winning and I think that we're all losing, and it sucks. But if you enjoyed this conversation, I hope you'll leave a comment. I hope that you'll consider subscribing. I stream on Rex Sterling Live on YouTube and Rex Sterling on Twitch, and I post my videos here on Rex Sterling TV. I hope I'll see you again.
I work for a living, so unfortunately I can't stream as much as he probably does and make videos as much as he does. I wish I could. I wish I made money doing this. I mean, that would be cool, right? But good video. I like the video. I'm going to see what other videos he's got. I may react to some of those as well. But yeah, I mean, I understand where he's coming from. I share the same frustrations he does as well, because right now it seems like every game that's released, the discourse always seems to fall to just some, you know, insults of racism, you know, bigotry, you know, homophobic, transphobic. That always seems to be what the discourse always falls and resorts to be in. So I can understand his frustration here. So I'll put the video down in the description so you guys go check his channel out, Rex Sterling TV over on YouTube. All right, that's all I got for you today, guys. Let me know what you think about this topic. Is it important to you? Is it not important to you? Leave a thumbs up if you like the video and subscribe to the channel for more content, and I will talk to you guys next time.